Welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. And Mike will be with us just in a moment. And we welcome all of you with us. Does anybody have anything to say to get us started, or a question or a comment? Just unmute yourself and go for it. No? Okay.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're driving.
I am. um, I've had some interesting thing happen.
Tell us.
I've been doing the worksheets and really diving deep into this, and having some really incredible experiences.
Uh-huh.
And haven't really had a past relationship in this life with Jesus. And because the masculine has been a painful pain point for me,
Right.
and also the religious stuff. But I had this beautiful experience yesterday where energetically I connected with him, and it's not really a him form, it was actually his light body. And just the presence alone was absolutely magnificent.
Awesome.
It was
Yay.
so neat, so neat. So I got the energetic reference point of what expansion, I guess I could call it, for lack of a better word, he got to, which like felt really inspiring to me.
That's
Your face is
awesome.
wearing it well.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And actually, I haven't even been able to eat food since last week. I'm juicing, but I've had my body reject meat and caffeine and all these different things in the past, and not reject, but like feel really nauseous and can't consume it. So there's a really big upgrade happening, and I'm purging like crazy, like physically. So something really beautiful is happening with this work, and I knew it was truth logically and how I was feeling in my body towards it, but now I'm seeing a lot of evidence. So I just wanted to express my gratitude. This is really incredible.
Well, you look fabulous, and the smile on your face is so real. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
That is
Terry?
awesome.
Congratulations.
That is so, yeah. Congratulations for sure. That is so awesome. And that you're going to really want to get into the breath work, because for me, whenever I start looking radiant and good like that, there's another wave coming of some stuff to heal out. I hate to put that out there, but I actually love to put it out there, because when you get on the other side of it, wow, I had a big one last night. It's just so good. And my mind resists and all this stuff. And it's just, yeah, push through it. And it's really nice to see it happening live and in color. Thanks.
Well, I do a lot of breath work with my yogic training, and a lot is coming up. I've been crying all morning, but just like release crying of a lot of things coming up. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Nice. Holding the space for you. That's awesome. And Terry's right. There will probably be a layer that is not going to be Dr. Feelgood that's going to move, and just support you in keeping that breath moving and staying connected. And you got a whole family of support right here.
Yeah.
Holding the space for you.
I'll add one more little point. on the crying, when I guess the last 6 weeks I've been through another period where it's just come, the emotions, the tears are coming. I haven't had a round of release like that since I was at Heartland. I was walking around there for about 4 weeks, and I said, I'm just leaking, and I can't stop leaking, and it was just coming
Process
up.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the objective is to get to process point where, and defining processing as the ability to keep love conscious, active, and present when something less than love is moving. And when they said in the ancient teachings, the veil of the temple must be rent in twain, they weren't talking about a purple curtain in a church. It's the barrier between the subconscious and the unconscious. And when you get that puppy to open, then, it's so precious. And as long as it will stay open, keep it moving, because you just move literally tons and tons of material, and relatively speaking, no time flat. So awesome. So Terry, what happened to you last night?
Well, you invited me over to that little impromptu breath session, and it was right on time. I was headed to the house. It was about 10 till 7 or so, quarter till, and I had been having the thoughts, oh my God, it's coming again. I got to do something. And I need to breathe. And then you invited me to this little meditation thing. I didn't know exactly what it was. I said, yeah, sure. I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to stay in the energetic healing space of whatever's going on. So we jump on there, and there's 4 of us, and end up doing this. Martha had a little bit different spin. It was pretty close breath work type session, a breathing session, a little guided meditation. And oh my God, I just went so deep and big. But what I connected with, I'm still processing it, is from the trauma when I fell and it like killed me, and I cried, and they had to revive me and flew me to the hospital, all that stuff, well, as I was breathing, I could see in my mind's eye and feel my brain activity was a different color and shade and energy. And then the lower part of my body was like jellyfish tentacles. It's the best way I can describe it. Michael encouraged me to try to draw it. And that was a different shade where the flow was restricted. And that was when it shut it off. Everything was shut down so I could survive. It was the first thing the doctor said, like a day and a half later, was, I don't know why you're alive. And it's like, of course, I had a smart answer. I said, it wasn't my time yet. But literally I could see that energy field and how it was so blocked, and if something was really going on differently at my feet. And I was just hypothesizing that, well, that's kind of the end of the nerve endings down there, and it circulates back. But it was concentrating the energy in the feet, which has contributed to this neuropathy that I've had since the accident, and it's kind of intensified the buildup of just the clotted energy, for lack of better words. And so as was breathing in and feeling taking the big breaths, I could feel my bone structure opening up, and it's been locked down ever since the accident. Really, it hasn't gotten to that level, and bones were creaking and popping because I'd broken 8 ribs, front and back. They were just floating, not attached to anything in my body, and all that had to grow back together. And so all that stuff was expanding and cracking and popping, and I could see that energy and feel it start to come back alive, to open it up. At some level, unconsciously, my body's still in fear and trying to hold, onto that, not at the level that it was at the immediacy of the trauma, but the residual effect has been really, really troublesome. Let's put it that way. And so,
noticing the trauma, your breath was stopped.
Yeah, it did. I could feel
and
it.
You're restoring it.
Chest.
That's what will open it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just restricting. It's like, whoa, it just like choked and choked me for
Yeah.
a second there. And I had made the comment yesterday. It's like, to keep, I said, what is up with this pain in my body? I can't get rid of this pain. It's locked in my tissue, my nerves, and all this. And it's like, I literally would break into tears around it, because it's been challenging. So a lot of that got freed up last night, but that's the culmination of 4 breath sessions in 3 days. Since that first opening Saturday morning, and I reached out to Michael, all I could do was just dial the phone and say, "Hey, Michael."
Doing a layer. Nice.
And he helped me. He helped me get into that. And then I had 2 more subsequent sessions on my own, and then the last one last night. So let me tell you, I'm a born again believer. I believed it before, but I really believe it now. It's like, now I just want to breathe all the time. Wait a minute. I think I need to go breathe again. Now it's like, wait a minute, you got to get to work. It's like, keep this thing balanced.
You can work and breathe.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a great concept.
And
so thank you, Michael.
Yeah, in the Aramaic, that moment of impact where everything just locks up, that's what in Aramaic would be the denial of Rukha, or what the Greeks called the denial of the Holy Spirit. That's literally what that means, and it locks energy in. And then when they said, and that's what builds the veil. And the other thing that that caught my attention when you said you were able to see your nerves and such, notice you weren't seeing it with your eyes.
That's right.
You collapsed perception, and you were directly interacting with actuality. That's where we want to go. Because in that space,
just little tears just kind of rolling out of my eyes here, just like it's beautiful.
And in that space, letting actuality in, that's what will reorganize everything. That actuality is what's called truth, capital T, truth. And when I can make the space to let it in, it will reorganize and restructure everything, no matter what the apparent damage is. If the breath goes in, Rukha goes in and loosens what's held, what's been locked down, and a space for actuality to come in, letting go of perception, dropping that altogether, literally being out of your mind. And that's when that level of transformation takes place. So nice work, Terry.
Yeah. I had the realization in myself, that was right before that. It's like, wow, I just haven't been able to get back to any joy, true joy. And I was trying to recreate joy in my mind and get that feeling back. And then I was able to have it last night in and after the session, and it's carrying on through the day here. It's like, it's just beautiful.
Sweet. So I mentioned Teilhard de Chardin. I'll share this with everybody. Teilhard de Chardin was a paleontologist back earlier last century, and a Catholic priest, interestingly enough. And he had a statement that he made that joy was the infallible sign of the presence of God. And my offering is he was just slightly off base, because if that were actually true, everybody be in joy all the time, because the presence has never left. But joy is the infallible sign of the awareness of the presence of God. When we allow ourselves to shift out of those perceptual constructs that are like a little, tantrum-oriented kid trying to scream and get our attention all the time, collapse it, shut the sucker down, and now the space opens for truth to move. And it restructures physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, financially. It restructures everything. And in its restructuring, it's like, I don't know if I can convey the visual that I have, but imagine that as an individual and energetically as a creator, this is true. You are the center of your universe. And the whole of creation that you interact with is hanging on your shoulders and responding to what you hold. delivering to you what you've asked for. Now, many people say, well, but wait a minute, I've never asked for this, because they think their asker is in their conscious mind. Your asker is not in your conscious mind. It's in your unconscious. So when I can dissolve something I've asked for, and maybe that what I've asked for has been in my bloodline for 20 generations, and it's terror and trauma, and I wonder why people keep showing up delivering terror and trauma to me, because the whole universe that is your creation sits on your shoulders and plays that out. And when you go in and actually get to one of those core energies and transform it, literally restructuring it, it's like, and again, this is a visual I'm hoping to communicate, it's like the whole creation lifts up off of your shoulders, rotates 180 degrees, is set back down on your shoulders, and that which was your why is this happening to me again, that again and again, if you went back 100 generations, everybody in 100, why is this happening? Why are they doing this to me? What? You couldn't do that again if you tried. Once that occurs. Oh, nice work, my friend.
There was a fellow by the name of Eric Butterworth.
Oh, yes.
That,
Unity guy.
Eric back 40 years ago, 39 years or something like that. Anyway, and Eric Butterworth, he had a couple of sayings here. He would put on the board, God is nowhere because God is now here. He just shifted that letter over, and that memory came back as you were talking. It's beautiful. God is nowhere because he's now here. And he had another one about the circumference of God is, and I got to look this one up because I can't remember. Do you remember that? The circumference of God is everywhere, and the center point is right here, or something like that. I got to look that one up. But the nowhere now here was a really cool one.
Yeah, that second one kind of communicates what I was speaking of, that each of us is the center of our creative process, and everybody cooperates. And when I can lift that load up, turn it 180 degrees, myself of whatever my own pattern misperceptions are, then the center point changes.
Yes. That's exactly what opened that up.
Nice. Well, congratulations, Terry. Nice work. You've been hanging with it for a long time.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And just learning more and more. There's just so much and so much. So I'm glad to be here to share it. Thank you.
Delighted. And Andre, any other thoughts for you?
Unfortunately, my service cut out there for a bit, so I missed a lot of what Terry was saying, but I really liked hearing about the physiological kind of breakdown that he was speaking about. I don't know how to term it, because for the last year, I've been having this deep experience of feeling like I'm dying quite consistently, and that helped me give some context to what's happening, like how deep that I have been going. And yes, there's ego death, and I've had that for a long time, but it's painful, but not the physical symptoms like I'm having, and I get panic because it feels like my body is dying. So I appreciate hearing about these experiences, because there's parts where it's gotten so intense that I pull out of doing any more work because it feels so destabilizing. So I appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, the key item to hold on to there is, if I'm doing the right things, if I've reached a new level of vitality, then my healing process is going to look absolutely 100% identical to my disease process, i.e., the energetic impact of the collision that you had that went in and shattered the equilibrium of everything inside of you, that moment of impact and all of the energetic patterns associated with it went into your structure and created a certain effect. When you get to the level of vitality that you're capable of it, you're going to go back through that 100%. The only difference will be what direction is the energy moving. Is it going in or is it coming out? In order to heal, the symptoms of healing are absolutely 1000% identical to the symptoms of disease. That's not something most people want to hear. I know you're far enough along the path to hear it loud and clear and stand in willingness, but be aware that it may become very, very intense. And that if you stay connected to that breath and look at any goals that you hold that bring forward any form of hostility or fear, cancel them. You'll deepen, 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 deepen until you will literally, and I mean this one literally, blow it off. Blow those energies out of your structure so that you come back to, rather than a broken state, and it's a phrase that David Bohm uses, is unbroken wholeness. That everything that's ever been broken is repaired and wholeness is the result.
Barbara
Okay.
asked if she could share something towards Andrea's statements.
Andrea, you had a thought first?
I was just saying thank you. Like, I really am in so much gratitude over this guidance. After doing this by myself, not feeling safe enough to let people into my process, I actually just feel so helped. So thank you.
You got it 100%, lady. And thank you, Susan, for including Andrea in the process and your willingness, Andrea. It's huge. I understand it's huge. You know, I shared last week and yesterday we kind of jumped right in on a topic, so I didn't get to share any more of it, but I shared a healing crisis that I had gone through the night before with going over a set of handlebars on a bike when I was a kid and traumatic brain injury and literally going through every part of my brain, my structure, with my breath and undoing the impact. And then the next day, the left side of my neck was at about, on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a level 5 trauma for about 18 hours. I kept breathing into it, kept working with it. Jeannie worked on it a little bit. And about 18 hours later, the trauma in my neck was 0. It was part of the impact, the accident. And then once that intensity disappeared, then I became aware of how it had impacted my left shoulder down into my chest. And for about 12 hours, there was trauma in that tissue that I could just breathe into and allowed to unwind. And now that is 100% free of that trauma. And I share that to reinforce what healing looks like. The energetic patterns that go into an energy system that are sin, remembering that the word sin is an archery term that simply means off the mark. The energetic patterns that go in that create distortion and disturbance, and the warning signal for that is pain. When it comes back out, all of it's going to be exactly the same. It's just the direction the energy is going. So that's awesome that you've got that level of willingness, Andrea, and the practice that you've done to be empowered enough to do that so quickly. Sweet. Of course, you got some pretty good support out there too.
Yes,
You Canadians out there, you Canucks are pretty cool group.
well, Susan's amazing. Absolutely. I'm very blessed.
You're
And
right.
I'm
We got
so
it.
ready. Mm-hmm.
We got it. So, Barbara, you had a thought?
Yes, thank you. I don't know, I'm probably quite. Yeah, so this is the second time I'm joining. I know Susan and Andrea, which is great. So we're supporting each other here. And
Awesome. Welcome.
yeah, thank you. And I'm listening to your book, not through all the way, but it's it relates many things I'm familiar with. I'm trying to integrate like Carl Jung and many other approaches of how to change your pattern. So I'm very conscious, I believe, or try to be aware of my patterns. And I would like to bring up something, and that relates to Andrea. When she mentioned she had and also the gentleman before, the physiological breakdown.
Carrie.
Yes, yeah, thank you. The last
Carrie,
half
yep.
year feeling like I'm dying. So I basically feel I go through the same. The last half year is emotionally so intense, including right now. I go like a roller coaster. I go into these dying cycles, which are familiar to me from my past, and my patterns are, and I have a questions to that. So because I still feel a little stuck there, what I need to do to change the patterns, and I know what you teach, but I somehow seem to be unable to apply it to myself. So my pattern is I get from childhood through relationships, through work situations, I get wronged, punished, abused, persecuted, attacked, to the level of attempts to be killed, my family and me. For me, being authentic, speaking my truth, and loving deeply and purely from my heart. My past patterns were I hid as a helpless child, or I walked away trying to not go into hate, just they have their own karma. I spoke up directly to people, but that, sometimes it helped, sometimes it made it worse, assertively. So I never went up to higher levels. And I feel I'm going through a situation right now where in a work situation, it's so complicated to explain because there is deep emotions. And again, I get punished and persecuted from other levels. And it's very subtle, but it's very direct. It seems like there's a whole network against me. And again, I don't know what to do. I feel to break my pattern. I know I need to go in love, but I tried to do that and in the past, but I never spoke up, with my true voice to the highest level. And I feel again and again, maybe that is what I need to do, not coming from revenge, but just to find that way of finding my voice and speaking up, not directly, but in the last consequence, like to the highest level. Yeah, like the same is in the relationship with the husband, who was extremely abusive. I never went for my rights. I basically came out of that relationship with $0 after, putting no financial means, putting all my work and energy in his business and stuff. So this is my pattern, and I know it's part of what I have in myself. But again, my question is, do I need to maybe get out of that helpless child mode, not going into revenge and coming from that emotion, but just go into the last consequence, just finding my voice?
Okay, well, that's you just laid out your whole life. That's pretty intense.
Yes.
So my first piece of feedback, and it's not the one I want to focus on, but I just want to give it to in the way of feedback, is Shakespeare gave us a really wonderful clue in one of his plays. He says, "My words fly up, my thoughts remain below." And you'll notice that twice you mentioned how you're not doing vengeance. My offering would be that you've just given yourself a big clue that there's probably some unconscious vengeance that you need to work through, that you need to forgive. And that unconscious vengeance will be one of the things that tends to keep this cycle of abuse going. Now, have you done any of the reality management forgiveness worksheets yet?
No, I
Okay.
booked that. I'm coming to your workshop in October
Right.
in
Okay.
March,
Okay.
No,
but I don't
it's
have
So-
not.
any materials.
That's different,
That's Dane.
Barbara.
That's
Barbara,
different.
that's a different practitioner. So just
Oh,
to
I
let you
thought it.
know,
Okay.
no, Dane Stevens is coming from Penticton doing a
Oh,
different
okay.
workshop. What I will tell you is that Dr. Ryce does have a workshop in November in Virginia, of which
Oh, that's
Andrea
right.
and I and Anita are going. So hopefully you're going to be there.
Yes. So
Mm.
how can I get a hold on that workshop on those worksheets?
Okay. Well, when we get off the phone, I will send you a set of links to start looking at how the forgiveness process that we use operates.
Okay.
And we live in a world that has forgiveness absolutely backward. You know, we live in a Greek trauma-based world that is focused in blame, and everybody that's blamed, we're told we should forgive them. Like I should let you off the hook for what's going on inside of me, which of course is a pretty bizarre idea because what's going on inside of me is going on inside of me. I may choose to pardon you if you've done something off base. Let's say, as you describe what your former did, sounds really out of integrity. You may choose to pardon him or not. You may choose to hold him accountable for that. But the forgiveness work is about collapsing the pictures in your mind about him and dropping into the underlying pattern that's been playing out through your whole life and removing that pattern. So forgiveness is the removal of that pattern. So just, quickly, if you were to take all of the people that you recognize this pattern playing out with, from your childhood, from to this job, to your former, as a group, it sounds like it's pretty consistent. If you were to be able to take all of those people and they're standing in front of you and they are 100% willing to obey you, what would you say to them from a mind of love, as though they were your best friends? What would you say to them you would like them to do?
What they would like. I didn't understand the last part.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. What would you say to them as a group that you would like them to do? What would be your highest, sweetest, most wonderful advice to them, what they should do as a group?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
So what would that be?
Oh, I need to answer now.
Well, if you'd like to do a little work around it, we're certainly here to do that.
Um,
Notice what's happening with your breath. And breathing with you. Everybody is holding the space for you.
understand.
Was that would be your advice to them?
Yeah, because I feel misunderstood, right? And
Okay.
wronged by judged. So
So what
and
would be the
and
core,
threatened.
what would be the core of those three misunderstood, judged. What was the third one?
Threatened. Let me be in peace.
Okay, that would be a goal for you. But what is it you would say to them? Would it be more important that they understand you or that they treat you lovingly? What would be the most important instruction you could give them as a group?
Yeah, that they treat me lovingly.
Okay. So now in the Aramaic language, the word forgive, we're going to do a mini Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop and step into the Aramaic forgiveness process. In the Aramaic language, the word forgive is shabag or shabak, and it literally translates to cancel. It doesn't mean I'm letting somebody off the hook for what's happening inside of me. But the unconscious, you said you've done some work with Carl Jung. So Carl Jung has a really powerful statement where he says, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
Yeah.
So at this point, what I hear you saying, your fate with people is that they always treat you unfairly.
Yep.
And so the goal then for those people would be for them to treat you fairly, lovingly, which would be the more important? That they treat you fairly, that they treat you lovingly. The sense I get the word fair is more relevant than
Yes. Yeah.
lovingly. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in the Aramaic language, the word forgive is shabag, and it literally translates to cancel. And so notice that you can run along through your life and you can be connected and happy until somebody shows up who's not treating you fairly. And then you go into pain. And so what I'm going to invite you to do now is to cancel the goal for them to treat you as a group. Everybody that's ever done this abuse, would you be willing to, for a moment, totally and completely cancel your goal for them to treat you fairly? And if so, just go ahead and say that out loud. I cancel my need and imagine this myriad of people that this is played out with, that they're there in front of you and you simply offer, I cancel my need for you to treat me fairly.
Okay, so I'm saying that out loud.
Please
I
imagine
can't.
they're in front of you and you're
There's
literally
so many, I won't even get them all together at once.
okay.
Um,
So before you go into doing the canceling, with that statement, I want to acknowledge you for how powerful you are, for how many people in how many different circumstances over how long a period of time you've been able to get them to come in and do this to you.
I don't know if that's powerful or stupid.
That's very powerful. That's very powerful. Imagine if you shift out of the energy with which you keep attracting that in your life into with that kind of power, that your core structure holds, that of course I'm a human being created by the Creator. I always get treated fairly. Imagine the results you'd pull into your life if you were to do that with that kind of power. Because you'll notice, and kind of one of my favorite tongue-in-cheek lines you'll hear in my workshops is, you'll notice if you've been through something 87 different times with 42 different people, you're the only one that was there every time. You're the one with the power to resonate and draw this in. And what forgiveness does, what this genius first century Aramaic mind called Yeshua gave us, was a tool with which to consistently, persistently make the unconscious conscious, which Carl Jung was asking for. And the way you do it isn't by laying on the psychiatrist couch for 20 years and trying to figure out the deep, dark, dirty thing that happened to you. It isn't any of the things that the world offers. It's forgiveness. And what forgiveness means is I locate the goal that's running my perceptual mind at the moment. The goal that brings this unresolved pattern in me that's been going on all my life forward to the surface for healing. And you do that by canceling the goal. Now there's a PowerPoint that I'll send you that explains, this being your first introduction to it. We're cramming a lot in a few minutes, but I'll send you a PowerPoint that explains exactly what is happening and why that happens. And I'll add that it's not an easy thing to understand. It took me literally 35 years of working with Yeshua's first century Aramaic forgiveness to understand why you would do such a ridiculous thing as cancel a perfectly good goal that all these people treat you fairly. And here's why. Because as long as you hold that goal, you keep the part of your mind that you need to heal, the unconscious. And what you need to do is make a space for it to become conscious. And you clear the space for that to happen by canceling the goal and collapsing everything that fills your mind with awareness. So would you be willing to I cancel my need for all of you to treat me fairly, or any of you to ever treat me fairly?
Okay. I cancel my need for all of you to treat me fairly.
And self-breathe into that. Now, where does your mind go as you do that?
I think in a calm space.
Okay. Were there any images, memories?
Well, too many at the moment. I tried. It's so
Okay.
many, all right. So I just try to focus more on the present and what's going on right now and yeah.
So what you want to do, what happens when you cancel the goal? We have this conscious mind. There's some Harvard research that shows in the lab, they hook people up to electrodes. And what they were to demonstrate was that in a time frame where they could measure 10,000 brain cells firing, a lot of data moving in the mind, the max amount of data that goes into conscious awareness in that time frame, which is about a 25th of a second, is 9 bits out of the 10,000. Little tiny fragment. And obviously, if in any particular time frame, we only get to see 9 bits of data out of 10,000 bits that are moving, something has to determine which 9 bits I get to see. And the thing that determines what fills my conscious awareness, the driver for conscious awareness, is my goals. When I cancel my goal, the root of the pain perception, which is unconscious, is hidden from me. But when I cancel my goal and my pained perception as a result collapses and I go into calmness, when it collapses in on its own footprint. And that's how I get to access my unconscious mind on a consistent, persistent basis.
Well,
Now, you may do worksheets, when they said to Yeshua, how many of these damn worksheets do we have to do anyway? Is 7 enough? If I forgive my brother 7 times, is that enough? And in Aramaic, he said no. He said 77 times 70, which, of course, is not a literal number, but he's saying you're going to do an infinite amount of work around this unconscious issue in you until you're finished with it. So a general canceling, which you just did, and allowed you to go into a calm space, is a starting point. And you may do worksheets 1 to 100, I don't know, around your former. You may do 1 to 100 around each person that's been in this category. But what you'll find is each time you do it is you will, depending on your level of vitality, be able to access deeper parts of your own unconscious and make them conscious. And when you step into and start to use the worksheet, preceding the actual core of forgiveness, which comes in step 5 of the worksheet, In step 4, what you do is you tap into and connect with the strongest presence of love that you can find. And at this point, you'll notice that everybody's eyes are on you, that you've got a whole community of people that are extending love in your direction in support of moving this core issue. And each time you forgive, you will access a different part. Each time you cancel that goal for him to be fair, for her to be fair, for your boss today to be fair, for maybe your mom or your dad or your brother to be fair. Each time you do that, you'll be able to drop into a different piece of this mass of unconsciousness that needs to be literally removed from your structure. But you don't remove it until you bring the unconscious conscious. And Yeshua, 2,000 years ago, is the only place on the planet that I know of that ever figured out how to do that. And you do it by looking at what it is you want in the situation, the constructive result you want, the goal. That goal is what drives the pained perception into activity. That's what recruits the unconscious pain, the unresolved issue. And canceling the goal empowers you to drop into the unresolved issue as love and begin the dissolution of that unconscious part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different construct to help me surrender.
Yes. Yeah, it is definitely a way to surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think I need to go through all the people, or can I just do it generally?
Well, my offering, when I asked where your mind went, you went into calmness, and then you said, and I asked about specifics, and you said there were too many for me to count. I suspected probably, I would start by working with the order in which you mentioned them.
Yeah.
Today. Your brother, the childhood, the boss, the former. That you start working with those with this. There's a step by step. Here's how you do the forgiveness process. And each time you engage it, you'll collapse the perception around this situation, drop into your unconscious. Now, and when I said earlier, depending on your vitality, I don't know how your dietary regimen is, what your physical health is like, but if I'm at a level, let's say I'm at a level 5 vitality, I like to do my coffee in the morning, and I like my sugar, and I like, a little shot of whiskey here and there. If that's how I live, then I'm at a level 5 vitality, and I'm carrying around this level 7 pain and trauma and toxin. I can want to heal that until the cows come home, but I'm not going to heal it. I'm not going to be able to access it until, and as you heard, we were talking earlier, what Terry brought up is his learning over the years is, oh boy, I've hit a new level of aliveness and vitality. The next layer is coming. And so each time you hit a new level. So if one's got a level 7 toxicity, physical, mental, emotional, whatever the energy is, one cannot access or heal that level 7 toxicity until they hit at least a level 7.5 vitality. So oftentimes it can lead to confusion. This is a really important point to understand, because many people get confused. They say, "Well, I don't know why I'm in all this trauma. I've been doing all the right things." Yes, that's why you're in that trauma, because you just went, if you're at a level 5 vitality and you got a level 7 toxin, you can say, I want to do it, but I can't. Nothing's moving. I do my work. I clean up my diet a little bit. I eat a little better. I breathe more. I get to a level 6 vitality. I unload some junk. I get to a level 7 vitality. And then I hit a level 7.5, and man, I feel so great. And I go to bed that night. I am so excited. I feel so good. My life is back on track. And then I get up in the morning and I wonder if anybody got the number of the Mack truck that went through my room during the night, because I'm lower than a snake's belly. That's what Terry was referring to, is that the next layer is going to come up when you hit the level of vitality needed. Yeah. And so I would do them in the order that they come to mind, but my input would be that with the order you mentioned them, they're probably the most important individuals that you do forgiveness work around in order to clean up this pattern so that you can be free of it. And literally, in terms of what I was sharing just before you spoke, as you do that piece of work and the whole universe is organized to make sure that Barbara is treated unjustly and suffers, and I'd offer that's your creative process, your unconscious, your generational patterns. But as you lift all of that off of your shoulders through forgiveness and turn it 180 degrees, anybody who even thought about coming into your field couldn't even imagine treating you unfairly because your energy field wouldn't be set for it anymore. You'll just be done with that. It will disappear from your life like, it'll drop like a rock in the ocean and disappear.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how the tool works.
Okay. So I start at my current situation with, it's not only one person. I don't know, like there's a whole group of people. So I start with them, I guess. And yeah, it makes sense. So when I cancel it through canceling the goal, I basically drop my program. I release my program.
Well, yeah, what happens is by canceling the goal, that's the first link I'll send you is a PowerPoint that explains what's happening.
Okay.
But as you cancel your goal, the construct, the pain construct collapses in on itself. That gives you access to the unconscious part of that one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, as those things process out. And once you finish with that, this part of you that creates an attractive field for being treated unfairly will shift. And if somebody who's really good at treating people unfairly looked at you and had the inclination to go visit with you, they turn away in the other direction because there's no receptivity for their unfair treatment. Like they couldn't even get into your field.
Yeah.
That's how distinctly things change. And if someone shows up treating me unfairly again when I think I'm finished with it, then there's the next layer of my work. How long does it take? I had an experience last week in terms of my own personal process. I've been developing this work and doing my own personal work for a little better than a half a century now. And something that I'd worked on years ago in Aramaic translations was from the Aramaic Beatitudes. And I did some personal work on myself last week, or it might have been the week before. And one of the Beatitudes just came in with like a whole new insight. It was just like, whoa, mind-boggling type insight. And I thought I had understood it. And with a little bit of frustration, as I was shown this, it was like pretty exciting, pretty cool. But with a little bit of frustration, it's like, oh my God, how long does it take? Like, I said that to myself with frustration. It's like, geez, I thought I understood this. How long does it take? And instantly the voice came back and said, how long have you been away? That's how long it takes. And for me, it was hilarious to get that answer back. It's like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. It's about me, isn't it? It's my work. And, the truth is if you're typical of people who come to this work, and myself, I can't imagine anybody in my family system, parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, that could even have started to intelligently listen to or have the conversation you and I have just had. Is there anybody in your family?
No.
So you're the early adopter. That means the load's on you. It's like, nothing to say about it except the load's on you to do the heavy lifting. And what you'll notice is as you do the heavy lifting, you'll watch people in your family that start to shift in the most magnificent ways.
And I just wanted to say,
and you're going to do the heavy lifting. Go ahead, Susan.
I just want
Thank
to
you so
say
much.
to Barb,
That was so helpful. Yeah.
Barb, I just want to say thank you for saying yes. We talked the other day, and we and her and I were at a couple of functions, and I could see the pattern going. I recommended to her to follow through, to just come to the radio show, and also just to introduce her to you. Just saying yes already puts her in the field of healing. And then your willingness to be here in this beautiful group of beings, and all of them committed to be whole and complete. You couldn't be at a more generous, loving, kind space, treating you lovingly. You said you've manifested that right here. You've done that with all of your work, and we talked the other day how powerful you are. We both remember past lives, and Andrea does as well, and how powerful she was and is. And I love how Michael said to you, what you created so far, and now you're just going to turn it 90 degrees and call in all that you are in your inherent nature. So I just bravo, 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 and hopefully we'll see you with us at in Virginia. And really deepen and go deep. And one thing there, I'll just say, the diet and all that, like you are in it, because the food is clean and everything, and it's just the focus of the container to remove all that is not the presence of God within us.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I'd
thanks so
also
much.
like
Andrea?
I'd like to say that Barbara and I have been working together for 3 years. We both do this, our own really deep work. And something that I'd like a little bit of context around that I was realizing last night is I've been somatically processing and using the breath that comes intuitively and that I've been taught, and writing in so many different ways. And I know Barbara has too, since she was a teenager, just grabbing at everything that was there to work through all the trauma. But what I seen last night was that I keep processing it, but it's almost like it loops. And then I process it and I do the conscious work and go into my subconscious through hypnotherapy, but it keeps looping. It's like it doesn't, it goes through layers, and it's gotten way better, but it's been looping.
Yeah, I would offer it's a spiral. As you build vitality, you spiral around. Like if I've got an issue that, I used earlier the example, I've got a level 7 issue and I'm at a level 5, I can handle that issue at a level 5. So I can do some work around that and go, oh yeah, that's cool. But then when I get to a level 5.5 vitality, I'll get to handle the level 5.5 toxicity of that issue. And then when I get to a 6, I'll get to handle up to the 6. I'm going to get to the 6.5. So it's a spiral that you keep coming around to. And one of the things that documents that for you is, and of course, this is a really common question. It's like, well, why is this happening to me? Why is this still happening to me? I've been working on this issue for years, and here I am back at it again, Michael. And what I offer is, yes, and remember 8 years ago when you first touched into that and you were like a bubbling emotional mess that could hardly speak a word, and snot running out of your nose and tears running out of your eyes. Remember that? Oh yeah, man, it was pretty heavy duty. And notice that today you're talking about that issue, and notice you just had a little laugh in there. You could even almost joke about it. And yeah, the ego mind says, look, here I am back at the same issue. I haven't gotten anywhere. I might as well just give up. Where when you really look at it from that perspective, it's like, yeah, when I started it, I only had the vitality handle at a certain level. And now, yes, there's still some trauma around it, but the level 10 trauma I had around it 8 years ago, I got a level 2 trauma around it, and I've still got work to do around that issue. So that would be my take. And
Okay.
I can't move faster than I've got the vitality to handle, the vitality to do it.
So basically what you're saying is I need to increase my vitality with food and everything, right?
That's a part of it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you do decide that you want to come to the intensive, we have a private Facebook page that has a whole dietary regimen that we use in intensives, and a recipe program with meals laid out and everything. So that's something that if you decide to include yourself in the intensive, that will be available to you as well.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm just I have to see what happens the next few months in my
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
situation here.
Barbara, one thing, the personal code evaluation, I mentioned that to you the other day. I would really highly recommend that you reach out to Michael and Jeannie and get this assessment done, because it's
Oh.
going to tell where you are in terms of your capacity in 10 areas and how you're perceiving the world in the 3 areas that they focus on. One that are really important is how you honor truth, how you honor yourself, and how you honor others. And then they can give a good assessment. And there's tools in there and homework assignments in order to correct your perception. So then you are perceiving accurately what's going on between the truth, between yourself and between others. But when we're in a crisis state, which I sense you are, and I mentioned that to you, but I don't, it'd have to be confirmed with the assessment, and then you can go from there, and it'll be, and they've got laid out the tools to help you move through that to see what's going on in your world more accurate, rather than a distorted perception.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
can I get that?
So Jeannie, when Jeannie's here, but reach out to them. Everything, their website has everything, and you reach out to Jeannie, they'll send you, and whatever the fee is for that. And you can also sign up for the code. We're doing a codependence workshop right now, the 17-week, and it's actually just me facilitating what Michael's already done in 2 rounds of codependence, which we're just finished. We're in the midst of week 4. So when you pay for that, if you paid to come in on board with that, then you could do the assessment, and then you get that at the beginning, and then you get to do it again at the end. And if you choose not to do it that way, then there's a fee just for the assessment. And then if you come to the intensive, there'll also be, you'll do the evaluation as a part of that process, so you can assess where you're at, and then what's happened after you go through the healing process of the intensive. It's so valuable. It really gives you
And if
insight
you-
into your own psyche.
Yeah, if you choose to do the codependence, which includes 2 evaluations, and then you do eventually choose to do the intensive in November, the payment that you make, the cost of the codependence to interdependence, and that's really the core of what you're talking about. So it's right on track for what the work you need to be doing. It's actually an 89-hour video course that we do. That's a self-study, and the cost of the video course, including the 2 personal code evaluations, is $600. And then Susan is doing a facilitated study of that, so it's not just a self-study anymore. You actually got 2 weekly sessions, Sunday and Wednesday, every week. And as Susan said, we've completed the 4th week. We're getting ready to go into the 5th, I think, now. And so, and if you do register for that, again, the cost is $600 for that, and then that $600 will be credited toward the intensive if eventually you decide to do that. So, just so you've got that information. And
Okay,
I assume, Jeannie, do you have Barbara's phone number? Are
No.
you able to access that? Okay.
No, it just came across as her name. So Barbara,
Okay.
my email in the notes,
Yes.
jeannie@white.org. So if you'll just send me your contact information, your
Yes.
email and your phone number.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll send you a couple of video links to get started. The PowerPoint and the core workshop. I'll send you actually, I'll send you 3 different links. I'll send you one to the PowerPoint, which is how and why this whole process of canceling goals works. I'll send you the introduction, or pardon me, the what is the world video that sort of explains perception and how forgiveness works to collapse it and give access to the unconscious. And then I'll send you the workshop, a link to the workshop, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? That explains the whole thing. So that'll give you a good foundation to start with. And I'll just send those as soon as you send Jeannie that email. We'll get that back to you. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I will do that right after. Thank you so much.
All right, honored, delighted. It's been a real gift for you to share this with the community, because I bet nobody else has any kind of issues like this one that you've resonated for them. And so thank you for having the courage to bring it forward and the willingness to go for it. So it's really, I think it's been powerful for me, and I think powerful for everybody. So thank you. And we are a couple of minutes over, but just has anyone else got anything to share before we complete? If so, hit that mute button.
I just quickly want to say one thing. So I just came into my awareness. I'm big processing right now, huge. And I've perceived that men look at me through fear and hostility. Okay. This is a perception that I've been holding. This morning, as I was coming out of dream time and in the theta state, I saw it's me looking at men through fear and hostility.
Breathing with you on that one, Susan.
And so that I could feel the darkness of that lens all around, but I thought it was coming that way to me, but it's me that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the really important things to remember is it's all done with smoke and mirrors, which I know
Yes,
you know, and your willingness is exemplary.
yeah.
Go
So
for
thanks
it.
to all the men on this call, all of you that are on this call, holding sacred space for me to find the truth of who you really are, who
You
I
got it.
really am. So I appreciate all of you. I just want to share that quickly because it's important.
Nice, sweet, awesome work. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Have the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world. The world needs it. You can do it. Thanks for being here.